Wonderful.
Don't push it too far back. Glasses out so I can see.
I think so. Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening. I'd like to call the Winterville Town Council meeting to order. Today is Monday, October the 9th, 6 o'clock p.m. We all are accounted for except Mr. Rice. Mr. Rice is out today with a medical issue, so Mr. Rice will not be with us tonight. Just keep him in your prayers. Our invocation tonight will be given by Mr. John Mazingo, and after Mr. Mazingo, we will stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Mazingo, if you could step to the podium, please, sir, and let us know what church you're with.
So I'm with Holy Cross Anglican Church here in Winterville, and it's a delight to be with you tonight, especially for the opportunity to pray. So thank you, Mayor Hines.
Yes.
If you would, please prepare yourself for prayer. Heavenly Father, you sent your Son among us to proclaim the kingdom of God in cities, towns, and villages, and lonely places. Behold and visit, we pray, the community of Winterville, North Carolina. Renew the bond of charity that uphold our civic life. Send us honest and able leaders. Deliver us from poverty, prejudice, and oppression, that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice and mercy. And at the last, bring us to your holy city, the New Jerusalem, where we shall know perfect unity and peace through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If everyone will please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome, and thank you, Mr. Mazingo. Thank you. We appreciate that. My name is Ricky Hines. I'm the mayor here in Winterville. Next item up is approval of the agenda. Madam?
Yes. Mayor, members of the council, you have an amended agenda at your seats with the addition of one other agenda item, and that is an item Ms. Robertson asked to put on the agenda. That is the discussion of concerns regarding the intersection of Beacon and Central Park Drive and Winterville Parkway.
Okay.
That stated correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe that's it.
Any?
Approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Have a motion made by Councilman Tony Moore, second by Councilwoman Robertson. All in favor, vote by raising their hands. All opposed? I think I did it backwards, but anyway, we got it. Next up, we have recognition of new employees.
Mayor and members of council, I do not believe Mr. Finch is here this evening. I believe something came up. But with that said, I am thrilled to welcome to the podium our new Human Resource Director, Angie Fuller.
Come on up, Miss Angie. Come to the podium, step to the podium.
Angie's been looking forward to this all day. I am thrilled to introduce Angie. She was a former employee of Greenville Utilities for 29 and a half years. Angie lives in Winterville here. She's a resident of Mellon Downs subdivision and has been with us since, I believe, August the 16th. But she's hit the ground running. She has an extensive experience in human resources and is going to be a great member of the team. Angie, would you like to say anything?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. I've learned a lot so far, and I will continue to grow and
Thank you, and we're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Chief will help me get Mr. Finch here next month, and we will look forward to welcoming him.
Next item up is a proclamation, and before I read this proclamation, I have to say, I've been knowing this young man for quite a while, and, you know, the proclamation, when you hear it, you'll know that he's a great young man, come from a great family, but also to let you know, Mr. Meacham, this proclamation was actually spurred on by your neighbor, Miss Martha Jackson. I went by to visit Miss Martha when Doug passed away. Doug was our old mayor. And the first thing she told me, she said, Mayor Hines, you need to honor that Meacham. He played ball in my backyard, and y'all haven't said a word about him. And she said, if you want to do something for me, that's what you should do. You should honor Mr. Meacham. And so, you know, that's what spurred this on, of course, you know. So what we're going to do is going to read this proclamation. Let me put on my glasses here. Proclamation honoring Xavier Meacham. Whereas Xavier Miles Meacham is a native of Winterville, North Carolina, who attended South Central High School, where he was an outstanding athlete in baseball and football. In addition, Xavier graduated with a 3.8 GPA in June of 2020. Whereas Xavier attended North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro on a baseball scholarship as a pitcher, and he majored in business administration. In 2021, Xavier was named MEAC Preseason Freshman of the Year, and he also earned MEAC Rookie of the Week honors. And whereas after his freshman season, the Minority Baseball Prospect organization named Xavier an All-Star and invited him to participate in the MVP All-Star game in 2021, 2022, and 2023. Whereas in 2023, Xavier was invited to participate in 3 events that showcase his elite college baseball. The event that showcased elite college baseball players. 1, he was invited to participate in an event sponsored by MLB legend Ken Griffey Jr., the Swingman Classic in Seattle, Washington, during MLB All-Star Weekend. Xavier was selected as the starting pitcher for that event. Xavier was selected to play for Team USA, Collegiate National Team. As a member of the Team USA, he pitched against Taiwan Taipei. Team USA won the game series, and Xavier was invited to participate in the MLB Draft Combine in Phoenix, Arizona. Only the top 300 baseball players eligible for the 2023 draft were invited to participate. Whereas on June 10th, 2023, the Miami Marlins select Xavier as the 293rd overall pick in the 10th round of the 2023 MLB draft. And Xavier started his professional baseball career with the Marlins Rookie League and was promoted to their single-A affiliate, the Jupiter Hammerheads. The team went on to win the Florida State League Championship for the first time in team history. And whereas Xavier Meacham is an example to other young adults of where dedication, hard work, and sacrifice can take a person in their life. Now, therefore, I, Richard E. Hines, the mayor of the town of Winterville, hereby honor Xavier and praise him for what he has accomplished at a young age. In witness whereof, I do set my hand and cause the seal of Winterville to be affixed this, the 9th day of October the 23rd. if y'all like, if y'all like to step out, yeah. Y'all more than welcome. And thank y'all for coming.
I think everybody came in. Looks like they all came to see him, but not us.
Told that. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like, oh, God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Read this part.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, right. Just public.
Oh, yeah, right. Just
Right, public comment. Okay, all right. Okay, next on, right. Next up is our public hearing. And before we start our public hearing, we do have one person here that has signed up, but please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Okay?
Is that public comment?
Public hearing.
Public hearing, I'm sorry. All right, public hearing, I'm sorry. Whew, let's get it right, Ricky. Public hearing, and as Miss Jennifer Silvers.
No, public comment. This is on the rezoning.
Oh, rezoning?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Silvers. I'm sorry. We get it right.
We're coming.
We're coming. Okay, public hearing. Keep it to 3 minutes. Okay. Ready?
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. We have received a rezoning for KP Merha LLC, Samuel Sanchez. I will explain and go through these parcels right here in a second. Sorry, this is not updating with me over here.
Stephen, is your mic on?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
You might want
thank
to pull it a little closer to you.
Okay.
Thank you. And while Stephen's getting his presentation together, I just wanted to congratulate him because he and his wife just had their second baby boy last Thursday.
Oh, congratulations. Thank you, and with that preface,
Sorry, Stephen, I had to do it.
if I am missing something today, just let me know because I am trying to fight through it. Let me restart this. I'm kind of freaking out.
I wasn't that brave.
Okay, I'm up and running. Okay, again, the applicant, Mr. Sanjay Merha and Samuel Sanchez. This property is located at 139 Vernon White Road and 4319 Winterville Parkway. This is the northeastern corner of Winterville Parkway and Vernon White Road. You generally will hear this kind of area talked about as the Vernon White House. So that's the property that this is sitting on, as well as the property just to the north of it between Fred's Foods as well. This is, believe it or not, it doesn't look like it from the road, but it is a 12.49 acre site. It's a fairly large site for just driving past, you wouldn't really recognize that. It is currently agricultural residential AR. Again, that's kind of the placeholder that property generally sits prior to a rezoning. So the applicant is asking for a general business, or what we typically will call GB zoning. Notifications, again, this is to ensure that we're following state statute. Notification was placed on this property May 23rd, a while ago. We mailed notifications out twice for this one. One on May 25th, and then separately, no, that was for the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. I'm sorry, again, I'm trying to catch up here. For this public hearing, we did it separately on August 29th and September 26th. We also advertised this within the Daily Reflector on August 23rd and August 30th, as well as notifying of tonight's
hearing for September 27th and October 4th. If you can look on the screen there, this is the location and parcels that are in question tonight. It's 3 parcels, kind of a weird shape. As you can see, again, it's just to the north of Vernon White Road before you get to Beacon and that commercial area. This is the rezoning map. We're going to go over just some existing and future land uses right now. Existing land use map, as you see, shows the area in question currently as single-family residential. To the north, all commercial. To the west, we've got commercial. To the east, it's a mixture of just on the top commercial with single-family residential just adjacent to the southern portion. And then to the south, this is all single-family residential. We do have some commercial in this area right here. So this is a transitional area from pretty intense commercial to single-family residential. Okay, if we're looking at the current zoning, as you see, this kind of darker color is all general business. This lighter, I guess it's like a tan color on the screen up there is the agricultural residential zoned. Again, generally that's kind of a placeholder to eventually be considered for a zoning district in the future. The purple area is R20, which is a 20,000 square foot lot, single-family residential zoning district. A little piece over here on the corner of Vernon White and Beacon is office and institutional. And then in the kind of central southern area right here, a lot of that is general business with some multifamily residential in that area as well. And if anybody has any questions as I'm going along, certainly stop me and let me know. The future land use plan for this area suggests it's about split 6.5 acres by 6.5 acres of neighborhood center and regional center. So this darker color is the regional center. This lighter pink color is the neighborhood center. The yellow is suburban residential. That is in place because of existing neighborhood with larger lots. And we're going to dive a little bit into what the neighborhood center and regional center mean. So the neighborhood center is essentially context-appropriate commercial, retail, services, professional offices, and occasionally residential at certain locations that make sense. Some small lot residential may work in certain locations, such as patio homes or even attached residential. The regional center is a high to medium intensity commercial, retail, lodging uses that act as a regional activity center with offices, and it may have some residential mixed into it as a mixed-use project. These sites are primarily auto-oriented destinations with national or regional businesses. So you can kind of think of the Lowe's Foods area kind of within that context. It's an area that you're typically not easily able to walk to, with large national tenants that are for high visibility sites and highly desirable commercial areas. Looking into some of the future land use character areas, this is for neighborhood center. This dives a little bit further into the definition that we just looked at. So we're looking at these centers as small-scale retail, restaurant, and offices that serve the surrounding neighborhoods. More intense and higher intense land uses may be attractive in these areas, again, residential in some certain locations. The zones that are suggested for these sites are general business, commercial neighborhood, office and institutional, or intermediate commercial. There are some other possible zones if it meets that certain criteria, if it meets certain criteria. These uses, again, are neighborhood serving commercial uses. You see grocery stores, retail services, restaurants, things like that that have an anchor with a land use. Again, multifamily or some smaller, dense residential may make sense in certain sites. For the regional center, these are larger, auto-oriented commercial areas that serve the regional market. And I think that's something very important to consider here. The regional market is something that you're looking at with high visibility and highly accessible sites, such as we're looking at tonight. These are high-intensity shopping centers with good design. They can be pleasant outdoor and indoor shopping experience that complement the community with commercial, retail, and service activity centers. The zoning ordinance really suggests general business for this area. Now, it also says there are possibilities to rezone office and institutional, intermediate commercial, commercial neighborhood, or multifamily residential, again, in areas that make sense for those particular uses. These commercial uses have a regional nature. Think big box stores, chain restaurants, hotels, even multifamily at certain sites that make sense. Again, these are highway-oriented sites that typically are sitting on the bigger highways with high visibility, high commercial use. Some of the land use goals for Winterville are to continue to strengthen and diversify our economy. Winterville is booming right now. We are in the middle of, high demand for residential and commercial that is not quite being met right now with the amount of demand out there. There's a ton of people calling up looking for land for both residential and commercial. It's to encourage a balanced tax base while managing growth, to utilize this future land use plan and the character areas when considering land use decisions, to encourage non-residential growth in the form of retail, restaurants, professional office, and industrial development in areas designated on this future land use plan. Again, our economic development goals are to strengthen and diversify the economy, to emphasize retail, office, light industrial, and other commercial uses along Winterville Parkway and other appropriate areas in Winterville. Also to support Winterville as transforming from a bedroom community, as some may describe, into a neighboring community of Winterville, creating that name of Winterville. Discouraging rezonings in highly visible corners with great access or good access and parcels of office and employment future land use areas. To focus on business recruitment, expansion, and retention. We want to encourage and support local businesses, especially in expansion efforts. So I'm moving on to some of the phone calls of concern that I received. I received 2 phone calls prior to the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Both of these phone calls were more of curious natures. One stated actually that they didn't care one way or another if it was to be rezoned. They were just more curious because they saw a sign out there. Both of them were more curious of what the sign meant, though. At the planning and zoning meeting, we had 4 that spoke against the rezoning. These were greatly due to traffic concerns, noise concerns, and light pollution of a development in this location. At the June 13th Planning and Zoning Board meeting, the Planning and Zoning Board unanimously approved the proposed rezoning and felt like it was compatible with our comprehensive land use plan. Staff's recommendation is that this 12.46 acre property is currently underutilized for its location. The single-family residential and the bed and breakfast that permits up to 6 bedrooms, it has access and frontage onto Highway 11, a boulevard classified street with one of the highest traffic counts in our entire metro. And that's the Greenville and Winterville metro. That's our entire area. Its location has extremely high commercial value and is primed to improve Winterville's self-sufficiency by encouraging commercial development at this location. Though there is single-family residential that is adjacent, the zoning ordinance buffer yard requirements were established to protect and preserve the appearance, character, and value of these adjacent properties with incompatible land uses and intensities. In addition, I want to point out that our subdivision ordinance, if these homes were presented today, would recommend that the council not allow residential to have direct driveway access onto Highway 11 or these major thoroughfares as it's designed currently today. This general business rezoning request is consistent with the intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance, the future land use plan, and is compatible with the existing development and trends in this surrounding area. Staff recommends the approval of the request to rezone the 12.46 acres from agricultural residential to general business as it is consistent with the Winterville Comprehensive Land Use Plan. The rezoning process for this application, Planning and Zoning Board unanimously approved at their June 13th meeting. The public hearing was scheduled at our August 14th Town Council meeting, in which we are holding the public hearing tonight, October 9th. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to address. If not, we also have the applicant here that can assist with any
I have a
questions.
few questions. What is the experience of the applicant to develop this property? How many other areas will they develop?
I do not know.
You investigated? Before you hire somebody that you recommend, shouldn't you investigate?
I investigate a rezoning based on the comprehensive land use plan. That's all I'm able to do.
Wow. No more, did the planning board ask that question?
No, the planning board has to investigate a rezoning based on the recommendations of the comprehensive land use plan. They cannot look at individual people and pick and choose based on criteria like that. So a rezoning has to look at what the comprehensive land use plan is suggesting at the time.
But you always want to have experience.
Absolutely, I agree.
And this applicant, according to you, you don't know.
I have
You
not.
recommended, but you don't know.
Well, let me step into the planning board recommended it. Stephen recommended it from the recommendation what the planning department's supposed to do. If that's what it is. Now, every other thing that has come before us, you have not asked these same questions.
I've got a reason.
Well, I understand that, but if you're going to insinuate these questions here, you should have been asking these questions all along when we had other developers and everyone else come in. Now, I don't understand where it's coming from.
It's coming from me as a elected official.
Well, that's
But,
so be it, but
20
if you're gonna do that, make sure that you're fair to every other developer that comes through here. It's not fair. If you're
saying I'm
gonna
not fair?
question that, I'm saying that right now. You're not fair.
I don't believe that I'm not fair.
Well, I'm saying it. Because if you're not asking other people when they come up here, and you challenging him today on this, then you're not being fair.
The next question. How dangerous is this intersection?
I think this is a problematic intersection, absolutely.
I-
Now, I will say, to get back to the previous question as well, we are reviewing the zoning of the project. As with any rezoning, we're always looking at the proposed zone and the land itself. We're not necessarily looking at the actual development. If you wish, they may explain what they wish to do with the property, but I am looking at it from, it is an agricultural residential zone district. The future land use plan suggests that this could be rezoned to general business, and that's what I'm presenting today. I'm not presenting any type of single development.
As a resident of Winterville and Pitt County, I've been told this is the most dangerous intersection in Pitt County. Is that correct, Mayor?
I totally agree, and we're looking into that, and we're trying to work on that, along with yourself, that you sit on the Metropolitan Transportation Board. And I totally agree with that. But that don't, I mean, you know, go ahead, I'm sorry.
My other question is, you mentioned about the houses that face it. Is there any compensation for these people being that close to the houses, driveways to this highway?
Any financial compensation?
Yes.
I would not expect so.
Would you expect their housing value to go down?
No, I would not.
With commercial across
But
the
that
state?
is not based on any actual research. Is just, you know, if you're asking a question, I would certainly not expect it.
And if Pitt County only grew 1% the last 10 years, 1%, I wouldn't call that big growth. Would you?
Well, Winterville grew by 2.5% a year.
Is that a growth?
I think that's good and sustainable growth, yes, sir.
2.5%. Most employees get more raise than that, 2.5%. Anyway, the four people who voted against, what were their comments again?
So mostly traffic concern,
Noise
light
and
pollution,
lights.
and noise concerns were the kind of overall theme that we were hearing from those individuals.
People who spoke, they didn't vote.
You're right, they spoke.
Correct.
Do you think there's the timeline between June 13th and October might have, when did the letters go out to the residents again? Last time letters went out?
Let's see. So most recently, the letters were sent out September 26th.
How many letters were sent out?
I don't have that right off the top of my head. It meets the requirements of our statute of everybody adjoining and everybody within 100 foot. So it's the same as all rezoning notifications.
It's on,
Get it in your
Yeah.
yeah.
agenda packet.
It's in your agenda
Agenda
package.
package.
It's in your agenda packet.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Any more questions? Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Stephen? Okay. All right, get ready to open the public comment section,
Hearing.
public hearing, I'm sorry. Public hearing, I'm gonna get it right, public
I know.
hearing. All right, you have 3 minutes, correct, Mr. Attorney?
That's correct, Mayor.
All right. You need to
No, that's correct.
Okay.
And so you just need to ask for ordinance.
Yeah. First of all, need to ask if you're not for this particular project, correct? I need for them to step to the podium, state their name and their address.
You want to do those are not in favor?
Not
those
in
are against?
favor of this project.
Okay.
Not in favor of this project.
You can do that.
I need for them to step to the podium and state their name and address if you're not for this project.
Hello, my name is Donna Smith.
Could you bring the mic down? There you go.
My name is Donna Smith. I live at 136 Vernon White Road across from the project. And my concern is the safety, the traffic, the pollution, the noise. Right now, the noise with the stereo blasting, it shakes the walls in my house because they've got it so loud. The motors, the mufflers, going boom, 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 shakes the walls in my house. And then you have Sam's Barbecue. When they smoke they burn the wood, you can smell it all the way to the house. And my concern is the safety, the pollution, the value of my home, and that the traffic, which was really bad before Beacon Drive came, because a lot of people take Vernon White Road and then they take Beacon Drive to prevent the traffic back up there. And then you got Mill Street. And there's a lot of traffic out there on 11. And there's a lot of safety hazards. They knocked a stop sign out on 011. I mean, that's been knocked down so many times that you see the state people out there putting it up and down, up and down. And that costs money for the taxpayer. But, I mean, it's just, I'm just emotional about it because what it's going to do to the value and to what our living needs and expectations will be, because you'll have that business beside us, and then before long, they want to come in and rezone the whole neighborhood. And I love my home, I love the area, I love the town of Winterville, and I enjoy the people. And I just want to make it where it's going to be enjoyable for me, because I've spent a lot of money and invested a lot of time in that neighborhood. And I can appreciate the other people that want this to go through, but this is just my opinion, and this is how I feel. And I appreciate you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak against this project, would you please step to the podium? Anyone that would like to speak against this project? Okay, if there's no one else that would like to speak against, now, if it's anyone that would like to speak for this project, will you please step to the podium and state your name?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Scott Anderson. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, and we appreciate the opportunity to present this request. Again, we're requesting general business for this property. The current owners own and operate a bed and breakfast on the property, and their goal is to expand that business and to be able to create an event center and hotel on this property. As you may know, there currently is not a hotel within the town limits of Winterville, so we feel like this is a need that this developer can meet and provide for the town. We believe that this request is an appropriate location for a commercial zoning. We are surrounded with a major thoroughfare to the west, existing commercial to the north, and a minor thoroughfare to the south. We do have existing single-family residential to our east. As Stephen mentioned, the town's ordinance will require that an evergreen landscape buffer be planted along those properties to protect them and to shield them from noise and light. Property will be required to meet the town's stormwater management ordinance, so stormwater will be controlled on this site. The primary access for the property will be off of Highway 11 and There'll be an emergency or a secondary access out to Vernon White, but the primary access will be off of Highway 11. Got a couple of renderings of the property that we'd like to share with you, just so you can get a feel for what the property could develop as. What you see on the screen right now is the existing conditions. You see the Vernon White house at the bottom of the screen and Mr. Sanchez's house at the top. The intent is to protect and to keep the Vernon White house. So it will stay on the property and it will become the main check-in center, could function as a small meeting space or potentially a restaurant space. Let's see.
Surprised that does not show the driveways. There you go. There you go.
So this is what it could develop as. So you can see, I got a pointer. So again, the Vernon White house is still here. Event center in the back, and then 2 bedroom hotel room suites to the north. All the gray area out front would be your parking. So again, trying to be conscious of the neighbors, keeping the parking and the access out front to reduce the noise and the impacts to the adjacent properties. Again, this is the front of the existing Vernon White house as it sits today. And like I said, trying to maintain and keep the character of that property as we develop it. Again, another kind of aerial view of the existing house and the property as it's developed. So again, the developer may not have a lot of experience with doing this, but he knows to pull in the right people and partners to help him bring this dream to a reality. Again, we believe that this request is appropriate. It meets the needs of the town. It's in conformance with the land use plan. It's recommended by staff, and it was recommended by the planning board. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Y'all have any questions?
As we know, just because this is zoned, once this zoning is changed, it could be in any kind of business, correct?
That's correct.
No guarantee.
That's correct.
You could have a gambling parlor on the property. You could have all kinds of events.
It's kind of, right.
Right.
I understand zoning, but, there could be things put there that would hurt the property value of our town. Not having experience, do you have experience yourself, sir?
I do. I'm a civil engineer, work with Art Consulting Group. I've been in Greenville and working as a civil engineer for 25 years. I've done a lot of development in this area, several hotels.
Which hotels?
I was involved with the, drawing a blank now, over by Waterford Commons, the suites that are there, working on a new hotel right now on Arlington Boulevard. So
The occupancy of the hotel. What's the occupancy?
the total occupancy, we hadn't quite got that far. Right now, we're looking somewhere 80 to 120 rooms.
My name is Johnny Moore, one of the councils. I know you recognize that with the little stick up there. I know that we had a major storm here just recently. And after the storm was over, I took a ride. And a lot of places I know in Winterville, we couldn't even get through because of the flood and much rain. I did take a trip on Vernon White. And right there on that corner where you're speaking of, behind where the residents at, it was a flood. I have pictures that I took, and I reported. And I do know that they said that that could happen, but the result is how fast it would drain. Now, I live on the east side of Winterville, and my property do not hold water like that. And I think that is because of the beginning process before they even done anything on my property to make sure that they would build it up. Will that happen if you would take on a project, what you're speaking of? Because I do not want to add on to the problem that we already have in that area. I was right there on Beacon Drive and Vernon White on that corner. And the first house right after you, right behind there is a doctor's office on the corner, and right behind it is a resident home. Very, very nice home. And you wouldn't believe the water that was standing on that property all the way back as far as I could go. Will this add to, you think, or you got a plan, or have you looked anything further to help us solve that problem?
I have not looked specifically at that problem to see what's caused it, where there's some downstream restrictions that may be creating and adding to that problem. What I will tell you is anything that is developed on this 12.5 acres would be required to meet the town's stormwater ordinance. And what that would mean is when it's developed, the amount of water leaving the site after it's been built on can exceed the amount of water that's leaving that site today. So it would be either the same or less amount of water leaving that site after this development is created.
I hope it be less. I sure hope and pray it will be less to help us out.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Coming from a positive economic growth fund, how many jobs would it bring?
Oh, that's a great question that I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Just knowing hotel and event center, and you've got office staff who are there full time. You've got your cleaning crew. If it's an event center, you've got cooking people. So at a minimum, you're talking 10 to 15 people who are there daily. If it's a large event, you could have 50 people or more there working. So, but that's a guess. Not like I said, don't quote me on that, but.
And also to Mr. Moy, doing a fee, was it a fee? What is this one?
The most recent one?
Yeah.
I think it was
Ophelia. Ophelia, we had substantial amount of rain that fell awful quickly in a short period of time. So, I mean, we had flooding throughout the area all over Winterville. But what we look at is if it stayed for a long period of time. If we got the rain and it dissipated quickly, then the system is doing what it's supposed to be doing. If it's staying and hanging around, then the system is not doing what it's doing, and therefore we need to be looking at our own system to try to repair our own system. But if the water is still standing, or let me reverse that, if the water is not standing, then the system is working. We just had a large amount of rain at one time. So, I mean, you can take that for what it's, for what it's worth, but if you went downtown Greenville, and which I did myself, but, because I was just bored sitting in the house, but most of their streets were blocked off. So, you know, but then when you go back down there, they're open back up because the system has done what it's supposed to do. And I think for the same thing here in Winterville. So,
Yeah, I mean, just from a quick stormwater, you know, we design stormwater infrastructure based on a number of year storm. So, you know, we talk about a 10-year storm or a 25-year storm or a 100-year storm, and that's being the, you know, it doesn't mean it's only going to happen once every 10 years. It really means that there's a 10% chance that it could happen each year. So, you know, people say these storms are happening more and more frequently. I'm not a weather expert. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but our stormwater infrastructure is designed typically based on a 10-year storm event, or your larger road crossings are designed for a 25-year storm event. Ophelia exceeded that. We had 7 inches of rain during that storm event, so it exceeded what would typically be designed to handle. So it's not necessarily that the system failed, it was just the rain event was bigger than what it was designed to handle. So as Mr. Hines stated, it did what it was supposed to do. It backed up for a short period, and then it was able to get on out as soon as the rain subsided.
And how many trees will be taken out on this property?
I don't know that exact number. Like I said, this is really just a rendering to give an idea. The owner would like to preserve as many of the trees and the look and as he can. Obviously, with development, you're going to have to remove some. You're going to plant some. So we haven't gotten that far and hadn't gotten to a final design yet. This is just the first step in a long process.
Would you say that these trees help the water table?
Sure, absolutely. And again, when we build parking lots back, the town's ordinance requires that we plant a certain number of trees, that we get shading so we don't get the heat coming off the parking lot. But everything that's designed will be designed to meet the town's ordinances. And the staff does a great job of making sure that gets reviewed and those ordinances are upheld.
We had a house flood this past week, according to our ordinances. So they must not be strong enough with all the flooding we've had. I would hope we would revisit at another day, make it better for our residents.
any more questions for Mr. Anderson? Mr. Anderson?
That's correct.
Okay. Any more questions for Mr. Anderson? Thank you. Okay. Again, is anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this project? Anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this project? If not, I now declare the public hearing closed. And now, what is the action of this board?
I'd like to make a motion to deny the request.
Have a motion on the floor from Mr. Tony Moore, Councilman Tony Moore, to deny this request. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, I have a second by Mr. Councilman Johnny Moore. Any questions?
I got a concern. My great concern is the flooding. I do know, I understand what we said, and I understand the system itself. But I do believe you go there and add to, and to develop that land, the runoff will be going back further towards the problem that we already have in the area behind the property that I'm speaking of between Beacon and Vernon White Road. I have a great concern because of flooding.
All right,
I have a-
That's the reason why I reject.
Okay.
My major concern is life. You have an intersection that is very, 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 very dangerous. The more traffic you put on that intersection, it'll make it even more dangerous. It's a bad location the way it's configured at this time. I'm also afraid of the values of the home next door when you have a developer who has no experience in this. As a Gideon, I visit 9 motels twice a year. Some of the motels you have in Greenville, I would not want to have in Winterville. You'd be surprised what we have going on in some of the motels in Greenville. Very surprised. And I can't believe law enforcement looks the other way, what goes on in the motels in Greenville. That's just the south, the south Gideon camp. There's a north and a south, so we have 9. And I don't want the same thing in Winterville that we have there, and especially without experience. Experience counts.
I did say something.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess, maybe we don't think about it that way, but how much money we send to Greenville, that money does not stay in our community to turn over, to provide jobs, to do anything. And this would be an opportunity for that. Also, as far as that intersection is concerned, I am concerned about that a little further down the road there with that. That intersection's been like that, since we were probably teenagers, whenever the road was built. It's been like that. And it's up to us as elected leaders, when we see a problem in the community, to work on that problem. So we do need some attention to that intersection. It's been said ever since I've been on this board, 16 years, that intersection needs to be changed, and it has not been changed. I do think that this project will be beneficial to our community. I think it would be a positive step forward as far as Winterville, as far as providing a place for events, and also a place for people to stay when they come into town. I think that the traffic problems will be addressed prior to the completion of the plan for this development. If anything can be done to modify it, I think that maybe now we will get it done if they see that we want to put something there. So I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Well, we have a motion on the floor to deny it. So now we're going to call for the vote. All against this, please raise their right hand, please.
All in favor of the motion to deny?
To deny.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion to deny, raise their right hand. We have Mr. Tony Moore and Mr. Johnny Moore. Okay. All right. Now, the reversal, if you will raise your right hand.
This would be those against
This,
the motion.
against the motion,
to deny.
against the motion to deny. I have Ms. Robinson and Dr. Brandon Harrell. Okay? So we have a 2-2 tie. All right, and then my vote. Okay? And I'm against this motion. Okay? The mayor, Ricky Hines, is against this motion. Okay? So with that being said, this motion failed with a 3-2 vote. Correct?
Got it. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
So do we need a motion to
Right.
approve it?
Yes.
You have another motion.
I make a motion that we approve the rezoning of this property here. I know you can get a description from it.
All right, have a motion made by Ms. Robinson, second by Dr. Harrell. Is there any questions on this motion? Okay, all right. All in favor of this motion, raise their right hand. We have Ms. Robinson and Dr. Harrell is in favor. Now, all against this motion, raise their right hand. We have Tony Moore and Johnny Moore. So we have a 2-2 tie again, right?
Right.
And the mayor is in favor of this motion. And so this motion carries with 3-2 in favor. And thank you all. Now, moving on to the public comment
Yes.
that I've been trying to get to all night.
Yes, sir. And you
okay.
have two, there
We
are
got
two people who have signed up.
Two people that have
That's
signed
right.
up. And before we do the public comment section, I need to read something. And put on my glasses so I can see. The public comment period of 30 minutes provide an opportunity for residents to comment on any item, including in the agenda, or to address the town council on any other matters related to the town of Winterville for any item included in the public hearing section of the agenda. Residents should address the council at the time the mayor invites public comments on the item. No public comments may be made to the council during the meeting, except during the public comment period or as part of the public hearing. Individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and no more than 3 speakers may address the council on a single matter. The town council may elect to take no action on the matter addressed by a speaker, may schedule the matter for further consideration at a further council meeting, or may refer the matter to the town staff for disposition. Copies of the town public comment policies are available in the rear of the assembly room. First up, we have Ms. Jennifer Silver. If you would step to the podium.
Right.
Yeah. State your name and your address, please.
Jennifer Silver, 2501 Apartment A, Railroad Street, Winterville.
You have 3 minutes, Ms. Silver.
Okay. I don't have anything as serious as what's going on here, but I do want to talk about something that hurt me to my heart concerning Winterville. My dog was lost on July 4th night out of my house because of the fireworks. Looked for her for days, found out that she had a chip. The lady that gave it to me, she had a chip. Tracked her on the chip. The chip was, the lady said that she was with a police officer at that time. Gave him the number, been calling, been texting. Calls were blocked, been trying to send, been trying to talk to him. I know that was in July, this is October, but it hurts no less. I got no response from this officer whatsoever. I understand that this might not mean a lot to some, but it means something to me. I rescued her from going to the pound, and she turned around and rescued me when I was hurt very badly. She was with me right there. And so for him not to, at least, I'm 2 minutes down the road, he could have at least said, Miss Silver, she got away. I would have been done. This was July 18th when I found out this. I looked for her day and night till then. And I just knew I was going to get her back. Nothing. Nothing. And all I heard was, well, there's nothing we can do. Well, there's nothing we can do. I don't know what to tell you. And this is a town, I've been here for 63 years. I'm 63 years old. I've moved and come back. People ask me about Winterville. I love it. Peaceful. Oh, my God, peaceful. I love Winterville. But right now, I don't feel like Winterville loves me. And that's all. That's all I have left of her.
Thank you, Ms. Sylvia Silver. Next up, we have Ms. Ashley Gaskins.
Hi there.
Hey,
Ms. Gaskins, I'm
hold on
passing
for a
down your
second. Hold on
packet.
for a second.
Thank you.
The packet you're receiving, Mayor and Council, is from Ms. Gaskins.
My name is Ashley Gaskins. My address is 2839 Mockingbird Lane. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak to you this evening. And I have lived at Mockingbird Lane for 2 years now this month with my fiance, Matthew, who has joined me tonight, and our 2 dogs, Dash and Dot. We love living in Winterville, and we love living in the Mellon Downs neighborhood. When we moved into the neighborhood, one of the first things I did was join the Mellon Downs neighborhood Facebook group. Joining this group has been very helpful so that I can be aware of what's going on in the neighborhood as far as yard sales, lost pets, town updates and other things, as well as minor inconveniences, like reminding people to pick up after their dogs or if a package gets put at the wrong home. The most talked about topic that we have on our Facebook group is complaints about cars speeding through our neighborhood. Sometimes it's just our neighbors who are in a little bit of a rush. Sometimes it's our delivery drivers, Uber, Lyft drivers, and sometimes it's even guests of our neighbors. Mellon Downs, like many neighborhoods in Winterville, is full of families, children, pets, and the elderly. All of those people deserve a neighborhood where they can cross a neighborhood street without worrying about cars barely slowing down for the stop sign at the corner. We all deserve to be able to walk down the sidewalk without worrying about a distracted driver speeding down the street and losing control of their car and potentially running into a pedestrian. Every night that I come home from work, there's kids playing basketball in their driveways, practicing baseball or softball in their front yard, and I also see many people doing nightly walks around the neighborhood or taking their dogs for a stroll. Every one of these people deserves to feel safe enough to be able to do those things in our neighborhood. According to our Facebook group posts, in the spring of 2021, before we moved into Mellon Downs, our neighbors petitioned at that time to have speed bumps put in the neighborhood. And as far as I know, it didn't go anywhere. I have heard that there have been multiple attempts to get speed bumps installed into our neighborhood. And I wonder at what point we will see that the need needs to be realized, or the need will be realized. When a child or person, God forbid, is hit and injured or killed. Thank goodness we have not had that happen yet, but I would rather see preventive measures taken than have to apologize to a neighbor whose child was killed for not trying hard enough to get this taken care of. So we'd ask you what else we need to do to make this happen. I have also provided on the packet my information, my email, my phone number, my address, everything. So if you want to reach out with questions, I'm happy to speak with anybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Gaskins.
Mayor,
Yes.
on the request, on the public comment applicant for Ms. Silver, I got a question
Yes.
to the officer, to the chief.
Chief, step to the podium, please.
Is this the chief user handle this?
This is the interim chief of police.
He's the
Yes,
interim
sir.
chief.
Yeah, he
Right.
handled that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
He didn't handle it directly, but he's in charge of those that did.
Are you familiar with this case? You familiar with this case? Yes, sir.
Yes.
And my question is, did we ever find the dog?
So initially, if I can give you a brief story of history of what happened here and separate a little of the emotion from the facts. So on July 4th, my officers, Sergeant Commodore and Officer Wilson, responded to a residence in Barefoot Landing where they found a dog who was lost and in poor medical condition. Upon finding him, they did not find the dog, a resident found the dog. At the time, we did not have somewhere to put the dog. The homeowner agreed to tie the dog off onto the porch and give a little bit of time to see if a resident got in contact with the PD or anything like that. So that never happened. The dog got loose that night and ran away. But during that night, when they were conducting the search for an owner, one of the rules we have when a dog is found in town is we scan it for a chip. The dog did have a chip. Came back to an address in New Bern. We had a New Bern officer go by that residence, nobody there. Came back with a phone number. We made multiple attempts to get in contact with the person by phone. No return calls. 14 days later, Ms. Silver contacted the people who had the dog chip in the dog. The dog chip company informed her of the phone number that called inquiring, which was Sergeant Commodore's personal cell phone number, which has been addressed by sergeants being issued cell phones now. However, that was his personal cell phone, and he happened to be on vacation at the time. So for him to get multiple contacts at 10:30 at night from a number he didn't know, I really, despite the optics, don't have a problem that he blocked that number, because I would have probably done the same, and you may have too.
But we have addressed that
Yes.
by making town-issued cell phones available. So that should not be an issue any longer.
Right.
And so that means that his personal phone number
That's right.
was given to her
By the chip company.
by a
people
chip
that own
company.
the chip. So she finally sent Sergeant Commodore a text explaining the situation. Sergeant Commodore got in contact with Officer Wilson because he was working that night. As I explained, Commodore was on vacation. And Officer Wilson made contact with Ms. Silver within an hour and explained to her the complete situation. And that conversation is captured on body-worn camera. And that was it. Unfortunately, whatever the reason is, Miss Silver isn't able to let go, and I understand, I love my animals too. Let go of the emotion of her dog being gone. We don't have her dog. Her impression was Sergeant Commodore had her dog and kept it, and that's just not the truth. Nobody kept her dog. The lady that found it was holding on to it, and it got away that night, whether it was because of more fireworks or whatever the case was. I don't know, but when we went back to her to talk to her about the dog again, it had been lost again. And she actually put it on the Barefoot Landing neighborhood thing about missing the dog. And that's the last I know of the dog. And I don't really have any other information from Miss Silver. I feel for her. As I said, I love my animals as well. I completely feel for her, but her emotion and the facts are a little bit separate.
Well, I think she truly believes we had possession of the dog. We did not. I met with Miss Silver as well as the mayor.
I did too. I met with Miss Silver.
Okay.
Also.
So-
Okay.
Yes.
We
And I
have
did too.
tried, we
And
sympathize.
Ms. Robinson also.
Oh, yes.
And Ms.
But-
Robinson. yeah.
But I think, I know what we're thinking, can we produce the dog? You can't produce the dog. But the idea is that it's just like a sentence that has a period. I think that's what Ms. Silver wants.
Absolutely.
She wants an ending to it. She wants she wants to know that her dog is, nobody knows where it's at.
Right.
And the way she feels right now, you might say it's emotional, but,
No,
when
it's
you-
emotional. I
those,
have an emotion of my dog.
those of us who have pets and love them, that's where she's at.
Absolutely.
She wants to put a period there. She wants an ending to it. And I know I talked to y'all about that phone call stuff,
Yes, ma'am.
But I want to make it clear to you, he was not called at 10:30. He was called at early in the afternoon at my house. And the message was, this phone is not accepting calls from this number. And that's why I feel like she got upset, because it wasn't so much that his phone was off, but it was like the calls from that number were blocked. We discussed
I see what
it.
you're saying.
You made adjustments for that as far as police protocol.
We have.
And I do
Wait a minute.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
We acknowledge that was not the preferred method, than the way it should have been handled. We have addressed that accordingly.
Yes, but that's where she's at. She wants to, it just needs a period to it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that because the last notice of ownership, or the last person to have her dog that was in possession of it, was a police department.
No, we never
Ne-
had possession.
Never had
of that.
possession.
Never
Never had
Never.
possession.
But anyway, the last person that she can get a trail on was that, and that's all she wants. She just wants an ending.
Totally
ending to it,
understandable.
and,
I wish I had that information for her, but I
mhm.
I do have a question. So, if this resident is feeling that Winterville doesn't love her, has, the skills and irritating the fact, what's the result? Has anyone, contacted her, she wants closure?
So like Ms.
I
Robertson
read the
says, she wants a
statement,
period.
that's
I don't think it's something that anybody in the town can give her. Mayor Hines has spoken with her, Ms. Terry has spoken with her, Ms. Robertson has spoken with her, and I have spoken with her.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so,
she-
okay.
Right.
So she wants, I feel like she wants her dog. She doesn't really want an answer from the dog, and I wish.
We absolutely wish we could.
Right.
All right. Well, before you leave, the other thing that we have here is the speed bump
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
I wanted to
Before you leave.
speak briefly about that. Chief and I discussed that. We have a standing request from Laurie Meadows, and Mayor Pro Tem and I have discussed that one.
Yes.
As well as this request this evening from Ellen Downs. And I don't know that we ever got an official request from Manchester, but I know they have been interested as well.
You haven't, but we will get you one.
Okay, so the reason I bring that up is, we've talked about, and I think I reported to council in a previous meeting, we'll call them temporary speed bumps, and I say temporary because they're not permanently affixed to the asphalt / concrete, depending on what we're talking about, they have not produced the results we would have hoped that they would have produced in terms of slowing speed down. I think initially it may have done its job, but unfortunately, as time goes by, those things don't last as long. as we had hoped. And by the way, they don't extend, you all have seen them probably on Jones Street, some in Cooper's Point. They don't extend to the curb in the roads that have curb and gutter, and therefore people can maneuver their vehicles and such that they may not have half their car that go over it, and people who drive smaller vehicles can actually get through and not have to go over it at all. Now, there are members of staff that have large apparatus, and they certainly don't love speed bumps. And we do realize that we have some neighborhoods and we have some straightaway major thoroughfares in town where people are exceeding the speed regularly. And Chief, he'll send folks out to do a campaign, we call it, and try to monitor speeding in these areas, and they can write, please, how many tickets recently in Cooper and Maine area?
In 2 weeks and 1 week, we moved 70
I mean, so certainly there's a need, we're addressing it, but as a result, when they move on elsewhere, then the speeding resumes. So, Ms. Gaskins, thank you for being here this evening, because we know that there are areas, I live in Barefoot Landing, anybody Barefoot Lane, that's a straightaway. People fly up and down that to get from Ainge over to Laurie Ellis every day, all day. And then we have a whole nother issue we're not talking about tonight, and that is parking on the streets and how that impacts people's ability to get through and around, et cetera. So staff needs to do some research in the Melendale's and Laurie Meadows neighborhoods, because we do have formalized requests, and get those reports back to council. But we need to have a larger discussion, I think, about if we're going to use these types of speed control methods, do we need to start taking a look at a more permanent solution, or even talk to some other places to see if they're doing something maybe different than we're doing and it's working.
And I was going to maybe suggest or ask, could we possibly maybe consult with a traffic engineer?
I certainly
to,
think that's possible.
Look
See
at,
if they know of anything.
Have they utilized any different type of method to slow down, calming methods in neighborhoods or whatever,
We actually put some on Jones Street, and you'll see on East Main Street, there's some bike lanes that were put on, you see the strip, the white strip, so that people can ride their bike in those lanes, and that's supposed to be a traffic calming measure, they call it. Of course, that doesn't necessarily work for people who don't respect the fact that that is there. I hope they would if somebody was actually utilizing it with their bike or scooter or whatnot, but it is something we recognize as an issue. We need to talk to DOT as well for some of these thoroughfares that are state-maintained roads. But I just wanted Mayor and Council to know that we will look at the specific requests we have, do some research there, but also letting you all know we need to have a larger conversation about successful methods for monitoring speed, because unfortunately our department's not big enough. We don't have a traffic unit where we could just deploy people to simultaneous places that they could do that all day, every day. So we're just trying to come up with successful ways to address the issue, and unfortunately lowering speeds does not always lead to success either.
I would like to say I understand what you are asking for and your request. I understand what the public safety is saying also about when they have to respond to emergency need, And then I look at what we have in place, that we ask our citizens in our town that if you have a concern with speed in your area, have your community to set up a petition and submit it to this board. And this is what our citizen has been doing. So, yes, I think now we're going to have to take something and do something and think out in the box and do something different so we can, come together some way, because when you got public safety, you got to respond. You got a need that a child might run out there in the street and somebody run out there speeding, and here we are. We need to do something. We got to do something. I don't want to wait until a situation like they had right there on Beacon Drive and Highway 11 before we do something.
I think the challenge is also where we have speed bumps in place that may have, again, worked in the beginning, but now we have people speeding between the speed bumps. So it's an ever-present challenge we're trying to figure out how to address.
And also, Ms. Gaskins, I know you're concerned, it's the same as she said over in Manchester, but a lot of times I've seen in my neighborhood is the people that live in your neighborhood. If they would slow down themselves, because in the morning, if you're walking, a lot of them are running late for work. They're speeding. Even we had an officer come into our neighborhood, and I think one of the first people we stopped was the person that stayed in the neighborhood. You know, so, you know, it's about self-awareness. I mean, we want these speed bumps, but we got to do some ourselves, is to slow ourselves down. We can't wait till the last second to get out and start rushing, you know. But then, as you said earlier, a lot of door dashes, I don't mean to name drop, but people that do come into your neighborhood, you know, they don't understand it, but a lot of it is the people that live in your neighborhood too, because I know it is in mine. And I yell at them just like I yell at other people that come in that don't live in my neighborhood. So, but I'm concerned too, so hopefully with the chief and the town staff, hopefully we can get some type of remedy. Like I said, maybe get with a traffic engineer or someone that we can sit down with and maybe figure out some type of system. And, you know, the sooner the better.
Well, just a comment, City of Washington has 2,000 less than we do. And we have 24 officers, and they have 36 officers. If we added on another 12 officers, it's my comment. I went to a meeting recently, Electric Cities, and talked to a longest-serving board member in Washington. He says they have 300 employees in Washington. We have 85. They have 3 deputy assistant town managers who all make a lot more than our town manager makes. Their taxes are 50% higher than us. Their crime rate is out of sight. Before we get out of sight, we need to have more officers in the budget next year, the size town we have. That'd
Well,
help.
I'll carry that, thank you for those comments, I'll carry that a little further. I mean, obviously, we're experiencing the pains of growth and pretty rapid growth. But most of our departments need an expansion in the number of employees they have for the services we offered, and that's a whole nother topic that I'm sure we'll be discussing in the coming months. But again, it requires us to be creative, think outside of the box, do things a little differently than maybe other places do. And so, not to belabor the point, but certainly we'll continue to look at these.
And in
important
comparing
topics.
Washington to us, Mr. Moore, remember Washington lost population
2,000.
to come down to where we are. We grew up to where we are, so that's one difference. I'd like to see us come up with a traffic calming plan for that community. I know that sometimes with our requests for speed bumps, it seems like it just like goes on. And as the young lady said, that they had been up here in what, in 2021? And I'd like to see us do that, come up with the traffic calming plan or some techniques for calming traffic in that area for those residents. I know, of course, I live in one of those areas that has bump here and a bump there, and people do go around the bumps. I live on a street that's 5 houses long, and people fly through there. You think, you get scared they're gonna hit the railroad track, but it happens all over town, but I can understand that.
Well, thank you, Chief. All right. Next up would be our consent agenda.
Yes, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions on the consent agenda? If not, the motion was made by, I'm sorry, Tony?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Robinson, I'm sorry. Motion made by Councilwoman Robinson, second by Councilman Moore. All in favor, vote by raising their right hand. Unanimous? All against? All right. All right. Old business?
Okay, folks, you all are familiar with the Human Relations Board bylaw amendments that we have been discussing over the last couple of months, and you actually made some appointments based off of the new policy. I included, and I've already presented this unofficially to the Human Relations Board, as our last meeting, we didn't have a quorum. But if you'll look at the draft that I put in your packet, you will see highlighted in yellow, the actual paragraph that's been included, which basically speaks to the fact that appointments for vacant seats on this board will be handled in a manner similar to how members are appointed for other volunteer boards, such as the Planning Board, Board of Adjustment, et cetera. So it takes away the responsibility of each council member having to bring forward a nomination, and people will apply and we'll bring the applications forward. So I just need to solidify this with a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Councilman Tony Moore, second by Dr. Brandon Harrell. Any discussion?
Mr. Bowden is here. He was one of our new appointments.
Okay. Mr. Bob? All right. Hey, welcome. Thank you. All right.
Thanks for agreeing to serve.
Yeah, thank you for, that's right, Tony. Thank you for agreeing to serve. All in favor, vote by raising their right hand. Approve the amendment. Okay, it's 4-0.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Next item is mine, Mayor, if I could take it.
Excuse me.
Oh.
Hey, could y'all, y'all like to speak, if you take it out in the thing, because we can hear you, I'm saying. Okay. It was rezoned. Yes, yes, ma'am. It was approved for rezone. Okay, all right.
Wanted to give the mayor and council a quick update on our cemetery expansion project. I feel like that you all may feel like it's lingering on, but we've had some challenges along the way. And I wanted to report to the board that we're getting close. We need to finish some road cut-ins, things of that nature. Our staff has been a little bit in and out with various and sundry things. It may require having to bring in a contractor to finish it up quickly, but I haven't gained prices on that yet, but we'll certainly do that. I do know the mowing of the cemetery expansion project was a concern recently. In addition to both cemeteries, we have solidified a plan for the mowing of the cemeteries, including the extra land for the remainder of this cutting period for 2023, and then we will be going out for bid to find a new contractor in 2024. The contract period is normally from April to October, I believe. Chief Moore, is that right? That has not been our normal course of business, but in any event, I'll be back next calendar year to report to council how we're handling that and keep you up to speed with whether or not we feel the need to use a contractor, but we are getting close, I believe.
Is there anything else on cemetery update?
They were supposed to be.
Yeah. Are we gonna hire somebody to cut in the road?
Oh, yes, that's what I was just talking about,
okay.
using a contractor.
All right,
So
cool.
we may, I just need to get some prices. I need to
Okay.
get some more specific information to bring back to
All right,
council.
thank you.
Thank you.
New business, zoning ordinance amendments, consideration. Stephen?
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. So we've seen a lot of, in this metro, a lot of smoke shops popping up. And these smoke shops are vastly different than, quote, tobacco shops, which is really what was in our zoning ordinance for for the uses. Again, with time, with change, you really need to look at the different uses within your zoning ordinance to determine if it is still current for the time. In this case, I think that with your guidance or your approval, I think staff would like to look into the tobacco shops and kind of redefine it for a more modern definition, something that looks a little bit more like tobacco, vape, smoke shops, and other chemically enhanced chemicals. And we're going to look at something similar to what the city of Greenville is implementing. They are implementing a restriction that is no establishments within a half-mile radius of existing establishments to help continue a diversified economy. And other separations such as, maybe 1,000-foot separation from schools, child cares and daycares, libraries, churches, residential zoning districts, other ways that to try to prevent the advertisement to children especially. Again, this is just an early kind of view of the use, but I'm seeking guidance from council if it is your wish for me to look into it a little bit more and maybe update our zoning ordinance for that classification.
That motion?
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we would direct the staff to on the ordinance C amendment consideration that you have presented to us tonight, for you to look into it a little bit further than what you have and bring it back to us as soon as we can.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Moy, second by Councilman Tony Moore, on the ordinance for tobacco, vape, and smoke shops. Any discussion?
Would the one down by Tar Road, would it meet the requirements of the ones that you're looking at with the autistic center being built?
So none of this, anything that's existing would be exempt. Anything that would follow would be under the restrictions. I will say I haven't done a measurement to determine whether if that was done after such a ordinance was established. But in theory, if it is within that distance, then that would likely be considered a school. I'd have to actually do a little bit of research into
we
what ACEs for
grandfathered that one,
Autism.
but if somebody else, if it closed down, we wouldn't allow another
Right.
one to be there.
Well,
Right,
you
correct.
also have currently Christ Covenant that's right there, across from the daycare facility, which is on the corner. So that may be closer actually than the autistic center. So
Right
Well,
about that.
and that one in particular, if we were looking at, again, these are kind of just preliminary and early kind of review of the separation requirements. But that property is right up against residential property. So that would, if it was theoretically done in the future and this was changed to something that like we see right here, that would not have been allowed at that location.
There was a robbery there last week, a week before, attempted robbery at that store, wasn't?
something along those
Some-
lines.
And on that line.
Okay. All right, I call for the vote. All in favor, raise their right hand. 4. Keep the hand up more. All right. Okay. 4-0. Thank you. Next, Stephen.
Okay, and I've got another one for internet sweepstakes. Right now, we're not seeing a lot of activity or concern with that one, but it is something that while I have been revisiting the, quote, tobacco shops, it appeared by chance with all of the, court hearings and continued legislation with internet sweepstakes to possibly get ahead of it, look at some more separation requirements that may look similar to the vape and smoke shop requirements as well. Again, it's very early, looking at separation from private or schools, churches, libraries, daycares, things like that, separation from existing establishments. all of this, I'm going to start doing a little bit more research in conjunction with Keene, and then we'll eventually present it to, if I receive your blessing tonight, to Planning and Zoning for review, and ultimately they will be making a recommendation to council as well. So it would be staff looking into it with Keene and other staff, and then looking into taking it to Planning and Zoning prior to bringing it back to council. If anybody has any questions on that one as well, I'll be happy to.
I don't quite understand the machines versus the internet sweepstakes and all that, but that would take too long.
Well, Ms. Robertson, I'm not sure.
In a private session, because
I'm not sure we
I'm not
understand it.
understanding, because I thought you could, I thought the machine you couldn't have, but apparently you can, because I see them.
Well, the court has made it interesting to try to keep up with what they've ruled on, and thankfully, we've got the help of some folks who deal with this stuff on a regular basis that can help us try to figure it out. But that's been a particularly challenging set of regulations to keep up with, because the courts have done a few different things on the legalities of those. But I will say this, we have gotten some citizen input on particularly the smoke shop at the corner of, what is that, Cooper and Old Tar?
Cooper and Old Tar.
Cooper and Old Tar.
About the fact that we just let them put this business in. And I just wanted to remind the members of the public that are with us tonight and listening, if they meet all the regulations, we can't arbitrarily allow or just say, no, you can't do that. If in fact the rules allow for that type of business, then we have to move forward with allowing them to open. And though people may have certain opinions about whether it's the kind of business they would want or not want, we don't have that flexibility, and thankfully we don't, because we shouldn't be making decisions on an arbitrary or capricious nature. But I just wanted to remind the public that we don't have that ability just to say yay or nay. If it meets the rules, then we have to allow it or change the rules.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we would direct the staff on the ordinance amendment, considering about the zoning ordinance amendment of the interstate and sweepstate.
Second.
Got a motion.
But you get it?
Yeah, I got a motion on the floor.
You want me to do it again?
No, I got a
can do it
motion on
again
the
now.
floor by Mr. Johnny Moore.
Yes, sir.
Seconded by Councilman Tony Moore to the amendment request on internet sweepstakes.
Yeah, the zoning
The zoning
ordinance.
ordinance on internet
Amendment.
sweepstakes. It is discussion.
It's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
With no discussion, all in favor, vote by raising the right hand. It carries, motion carries. Thank you. You threw me off when you said interstate.
Oh, I said no, I
Thank
said,
you, Stephen.
did I say interstate?
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
Okay. I might need to repeat that.
I think we got it.
I definitely don't want to go out to the interstate.
We got it. We got it.
Well, let me go ahead on and do it one more time. I would like to direct the staff on the ordinance amendment, considering zoning ordinance amendment, consideration of the internet sweepstate.
Got it.
Got it.
Now, this is what,
Right.
That's right.
that's correct.
That's correct.
All right.
That's what I stated.
Okay, let's go back and,
That's what I stated in your motion.
okay, we're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
I mean, that's what the motion reads, so you're covered.
You're covered.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Other agenda item discussion is the concern Ms. Robinson brought to us concerning, which we all heard about, in, the loss to life at the Beacon Drive, and thoughts and prayers go out to that family. Actually, I didn't know anything about it, and the deceased mother called me and needed some information, and I want to thank Chief Williams and his staff. They did an excellent job. They filled me in. I think they talked with the mother, and she was satisfied. And I want to thank you. You don't hear that a lot, but, they was appreciative. She said she was kind of distraught at the time. She didn't get all the information. So she reached out to me, and I reached out to the chief, and chief provided that information. And again, this is what Winterville will do. We appreciate you. Thank you. Now, getting to this point.
I'm concerned about the left turn, there, left turn light, because if you're coming down to Winterville, I say Winterville Parkway, and you're making a left on Beacon, lots of times people are making U-turns, and you can't see across all 4 or 5 lanes or whatever. If you're going down Winterville Parkway and you're going to make a left onto Central Parkway, which I didn't know it was another name across the road.
It's very confusing.
Until I almost had an accident. You can't, lots of times the cars in the left turn lane block your vision.
Right.
And you're trying to make a left turn lane, and of course people are behind you blowing the horn, which is normal for me, I guess. But anyway, I almost got hit. So I can understand how an accident can occur, because if you're in the left turn lane and people in front of you are in the left turn lane, you can't see the approaching traffic. And I was thinking that they could do something with the lights, as far as the sequence of lights, to maybe not allow U-turns on one side or something, or maybe only allow U-turns with, whatever, or and as far as turning on Central Parkway, just not have it so you can, so the through traffic, slow it down some or something. It can't hurt to ask for it.
And also, what is on that, coming from Kinston, that'll be on the eastbound, right? Coming from Kinston, what is the speed limit from the light on Board Street, yep, down to Beacon?
Chief.
What
Chief.
is that speed limit
Chief.
between there?
Yep.
It's 50 miles an hour. So that tells me that if you do not get the light, you can gun it. I mean, you don't need to slow down at all. We might need to look at lowering the speed limit once you get at Board Street to Beacon. I hate to do that, but we need to do something. That's another request. That's a request.
Before you speak, before you speak, Johnny must haven't been out on that highway, because Winterville police officer, every time I go out there, are pulling somebody.
I know.
And I get 90% of the calls fussing at me because they're getting stopped. And I ask them, are you speeding? First question, yep. But, I mean, I don't know.
That's a
but,
DOT
yeah.
road, so
Yes,
I don't
yeah.
have any input on speed
Well, and there is the light at Mill and,
Is the mules?
where the credit union is,
Uh-huh.
that comes before Beacon.
Davenport,
Thank you.
Davenport.
That's between that one and Beacon, so I'm not sure. I'm just suggesting, I don't know that whether you would actually want to utilize the Boyd Street.
Yeah, because from
Light or
Board
not.
to
Oh, I was thinking
down to
Board come
Davenport.
right there to the red light.
From Board to Davenport.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Boyd to Mill Street and Davenport intersection.
To the next red light. That's be the next red light, right?
Yes.
And that will be at, what street is that? Beacon?
No, Beacon's the next.
Beacon is the next one up.
That's
Right,
right.
Southern-
Okay.
Southern Bank.
Okay.
And Southern Bank.
Southern
Okay,
Bank.
that's my point. There you go. Thank you for bringing me up to date, because if that light is on green, you don't slow down, do you?
No, sir.
you want to make?
The idea is to continue the posted speed limit.
Thank you.
All green lights. I don't know what we would hope to gain from
Slowing it,
slowing the speed limit down there, because it is a 6-lane state highway. We're not talking about Mill Street. It's a 6-lane state highway. Particular intersection Ms. Robertson is talking about, you're actually crossing 5 lanes, because you have 3 lanes of travel, a left-hand turn lane, and a right-hand turn lane. Problem is there, if you're turning off of that side of 11 onto Beacon, there's no dedicated arrow. There should be a green and a red arrow. We have addressed that before with DOT.
Okay.
So there is no arrow at all.
There is one there, and it works when
is.
it feels like it.
Right.
So
It
that's
is
why I
on
was
there.
trying to think if there's one there, and then it gives you the
But,
caution.
right, so
ability.
on a green light, if they were waiting to turn left and there's just a green circle, if the arrow's not working, they have the
Right.
right to go, provided that they yield the right of way to any oncoming traffic.
And you blink, and when it turns,
That's when it blinks.
when it blinks, you,
So if it blinks or if there's no arrow whatsoever, but they have the green circles, they can still proceed
Still
as
proceed,
long as they yield to the right
Your
of way.
right of way.
right away.
So in other words, then, you said that y'all have been in contact with DOT. Do you think that we, as the council, need to send DOT a letter
At the very
at
least,
the
yes.
very least? Right, yeah, and to restart this conversation again? Okay, all right.
And while they're doing it, Mr. Moore, you've been always talking about the intersection there. Study that whole section, the whole intersection that we've been saying it over and over again. It's the most dangerous intersection in Big County, but nothing's being done about it.
I do know that it's being addressed through the MPO.
MPO.
But
MPO.
it's slow going,
This, yeah,
so it may still be very,
New money in
uh,
224.
that's right.
it still may
Not a lot of
behoove
money.
council, it still may behoove council to include that in a letter
In
to
a letter, I
DOT.
think it would be, yeah, we need to.
Because basically, the highway was built like that.
And then also too, I did have, someone from, Southern Bank did say, we can't get out.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's, they contacted me about that. They're having that problem. They can't get out.
Well, it's tough getting out. I mean, just the internal roads in that
Right, and.
area
right, right.
are
And the
busy.
building going on
The
too.
building back
That
there,
traffic
that's
too.
what they was concerned about once that, Lowe's Food is in operation back there. You know, that little, I call it service road. That ain't even our road, correct?
No, it's not.
That's right. That's what I, let them know that wasn't even our road. But they said it's just tough to get out. And
Staff will put together a letter on behalf of council for those two items.
And make sure you emphasize the lady, the death.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they always say that somebody got killed, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
The last time we got the speed limit changed within 3 days. Ames Street was changed and Mill Street was changed within 3 days of our discussing it on Tuesday. By Friday, it was done.
I understand that with a local street, but as far as a 6-lane state highway, there might be a difference.
Well, Ames
Last
is,
traffic study,
yeah.
we had 8 to 10 times the population of Winterville drive through.
Yeah.
So slowing down traffic through there was such a major answer to our time. It's going to cause.
Right.
Well,
well, Ames is a state street and Mill is a state street too.
I'm that, but they're smaller streets.
Yeah, yeah.
So it will affect the outcome of-
All right.
a major thoroughfare. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next up, items for further agenda and further work sessions. And let me bring to attention the October 19th. If you could all change that to, oh, I'm sorry, the 12th. I'm sorry, the October 12th. The beautification will be changed to the 26th. Same time.
Hopefully that works with
Thank you.
schedules.
26. And then
Wait a
on,
minute. I wasn't prepared for that.
okay, all right. Well, while you're looking, you can listen, right?
Well, you said October 26th?
Yeah,
Yes,
October
sir.
26th. The 12th is going to be changed to October the 26th.
What time?
Same time.
5 to
Same-
6:30.
5 to 6:30.
Okay,
And then on October the 19th, from 5 to 7, and dinner will be served.
Yes.
For that, October the 19th, from 5 to 7 here at the Town Hall. Both of these meetings would be at the Town Hall. The first one, let me go back, is the downtown beautification will be October the 26th. And on October the 19th, we will talk about the multipurpose facility, okay?
And obviously, these are the first of what I anticipate will
Right,
be
many,
several workshops on both topics.
right, okay?
5 to 6:30.
5 to 6:30.
And then 5 to 7 for the multipurpose. And I'll send out a reminder to everyone.
Okay.
I'll be in Vegas that week.
You be what?
In Vegas.
You gonna miss a meeting?
Vegas.
Not Tony. Oh, okay.
I'm required by law, he gets me credits every
Okay,
year.
all right.
We will miss
We
you.
will miss you, that's
I'm gonna
right.
miss y'all too.
Roll snake eyes while you're out there. Announcement.
Yes, sir. Let's see. Interim Chief Williams and staff will be having and hosting a Police Educating the Public program, the first one, on Wednesday, October 11th at the Winterville Community Room. Chief, what time is that? 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we encourage any and all to attend. Obviously, we had next the council workshop for Thursday, October 12th. That's been changed to Thursday, October 26th from 5 to 6:30. That's for on downtown beautification in our town hall well, it says in this room, but depending on how many people we have, it could be in the adjoining conference room. Planning and zoning will be Monday, October 16th at 7 p.m. Board of Adjustment will be Tuesday, October 17th at 7 p.m. Council workshop for the multipurpose facility, again, is Thursday, October 19th from 5 to 7 here in the assembly room or the conference room. The police department will be hosting Coffee with a Cop Friday, October 20th at 9:30 a.m. in the Winterville Depot. We encourage the public to attend. The Recreation Advisory Board meeting will be Tuesday, October 24th at 6:30 at the Operations Center. Our next Human Relations Board meeting will be Thursday, October 26th at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Executive Conference Room. Winterville Fright Fest will be Sunday, October 29th. I have 2024. I do not know why. It is 2023. I apologize, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in downtown Winterville. That is a combined effort of the town and the Winterville Chamber. Our next agenda review meeting will be Thursday, November 9th at 4 p.m. in the Town Hall Executive Conference Room. Our next regular town council meeting will be Monday, November 13th at 6 p.m. And we have denoted our Christmas Activities Day. That's when we have our parade and all other events, Christmas tree lighting, et cetera, will be Saturday, December 9th, 2023.
Okay.
That downtown beautification meeting is from 5 to 7?
5 to 6:30.
5 to 6:30.
5 to
So
6:30.
Human
Send us a
Relations
memo.
is still
Yes, and I will send a reminder to everyone.
And also, on October 11th, me and Rebecca Cavanagh will be, which Rebecca is with the chamber, we'll be at the hardware store, the Fifth Street Hardware Restaurant in downtown Greenville from 1:30 to 2:15, talking about the town of Winterville, along with the town of Ayden and their chamber person. So we'll be talking about the two towns there. So Stephen provided me with some good information to share, and I thank you, Stephen, for that. So if y'all ain't knowing anything, drop by the hardware store. They got a great speaker that's going to be there. His name is Dr. Herman. He's the he's a fabulous leader in professional development. So he's going to be the guest speaker. Okay.
Okay, can I close it out?
Any more announcement? I'm just trying to announcements. The other announcements that I have other announcement. We would like to wish Councilman Moore, Johnny Moore, our councilman, his mother, her birthday was Wednesday, correct?
That is correct.
Her name is Miss Ola B. Moy, and she was 96 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
Happy birthday.
All right, and happy birthday to your mom.
Absolutely.
All right, and then the other one that we have is, which I'm gonna present a proclamation to, that's a citizen here in Winterville, hit the milestone of 100 years old.
Wow,
Miss Ida Cox,
that's wonderful.
100 years old.
100.
Her son, Leon Cox, called me and said that his mom was going to be 100 years old, and asked me if I could, what do the town do? And I told him that we'll get a proclamation for her, and he asked me will I present the proclamation to his mom, and I told him I would on the behalf of the town. So that's amazing.
That is amazing.
Both of these young ladies.
Yes.
So let's give both of them a clap.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
great.
all right, and now, Johnny, we get ready to start the roll call. We're gonna start down there with, our lustrous,
Got the quarterly reports first.
quarterly report. I'm moving, I'm trying to get us out here, people.
Department heads are getting ready to get excited.
Y'all thought I forgot you. Come on up, Stephen.
I'll be real quick. This last quarter, we had 25 new homes. That's 72 on the year. We had 4 new businesses. That's 12 on the year. That's not the lack of commercial interest, but mostly the lack of commercial space. Again, we are just booming right now. We've got a lot of people calling the town looking for space. We just don't have it. So far, we've had 172 zoning compliances this year. That's always important because that means people are improving their properties, whether it's a fence, whether it's just, a whole new home, a new business. So that's always important. Last thing I want to point out is the State Demographer's Office sends us a yearly certified estimate. July 1st, 2022's most recent population estimate for the town of Winterville is 10,752 residents. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Thank you. Anthony, we're going right down the line. Cliff, you're on standby.
All right, Mayor, members of the council, I'll make it quick as well. Been working on easements for right-of-way for the Church Street and Chapman Street pump station project. The state is reviewing that project right now, and hopefully we'll get the green light and start moving forward with that project. It's been a long time coming. We met with customers of Bell Arthur Water System. Had a great meeting out at Pitt Community College this past quarter. The mayor and Parker and Duffin, we all attended that, and it was a great evening. Answering a lot of questions about the water system and stuff for those customers who are Winterville residents, but on the Bell Arthur Water System. So we also have gotten started on the stormwater master plan. The AIA, you might have seen the people around town measuring different attributes associated with the stormwater system, and they'll put that all into a big report and give us an assessment on, as timely as it is. I wish we had already had it in hand and could start making improvements, but nonetheless, we're moving forward in that direction, and hopefully we can start making corrections to our stormwater system that'll help alleviate some of the issues we are seeing with these storm events. So we also have the sewer master plan, which is going to help us determine how to, handle growth in the future with our sewer pump stations and things of that nature. We had a kickoff meeting for Safe Routes to School. That's a $228,000 grant that the town received with the help of several different entities. And so we'll be collaborating with many others as we'll grow the group, so to speak, and get a lot of people involved. And this is a 3-year grant, and so hopefully some of these issues that we had even addressed here tonight with regard to pedestrian safety and things like that might become addressed through this grant. So if it's involved with getting kids to school and educating the public about slowing down, things of that nature, hopefully this grant can help us do that. I also finally just want to commend staff for the ones that worked during the tropical storm. There were a lot of hands on deck, and they kept pump stations running and electrical systems up. As soon as that was available and we could access it properly. So I just want to commend staff on that. That's all I have. I have some items for closed session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just quickly talk about the highlight of our meeting with Bell Author customers. The director for Bell Author Water System is Ray Baldry. And then we have the Eastern Pines Water Corporation, who the director is Barry, oh Lord, Sutton, thank you. Just went right out of my head. So the highlight was when Ray Baldry was speaking and Cliff kept calling him Barry. He took it very well, though. We all had a good laugh.
So he took it well.
Yeah, he did.
He took it
He didn't
well.
do it like our mayor did. Political.
Pick it on you.
Correct him.
In my defense, I just got off the phone with Barry.
Ricky Brown.
Before we went.
It was a good laugh had by all.
Oh, Ricky Brown. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Good.
Public Works staff's been working, mostly, Anthony touched on it. The flooding issue we had has kept us busy for a while. Our staff worked 36 hours straight to keep those stations pumping, to keep us from having to have a reportable sewer spill. They did an awesome job during that. In the meantime, we were doing, there was flooding. I know why Mr. Moy now made it to Beacon Drive. That's about all, because from his house to Beacon Drive is about as far as he could go. Every other way was flooded. So PD was out there with us, trying to do high water signs. DOT eventually made it to town. So everybody pitched in that effort. So I just want to thank PD. And Electric was out there. Everybody showed up, and we worked some long hours. So staff did an excellent job on that. The Grifton called. Terry's aware of this. They called. We went and helped them out, doing some sweeping in town for them, something we've done historically. Our guys actually came in when the storm happened on Saturday, kind of fizzled out on Sunday. Staff came in Sunday and started cleaning the town ahead of Monday's, normal working day, just to get a jump on it, because, those guys, the routes were heavy. We're a little limited, but they wanted to get a jump start. That was their idea. I told them by all means come in as early as they can. So, Denali subdivision, most of those houses were built in 2012. I just want to put this on your radar. We are spending a ton of time and money out there because I'm not sure everybody's aware of what a standard pump station takes to operate. That subdivision has 67 of them, if I'm not mistaken. So every house has an individual pump station, the same as Red Forbes, or Mellon Downs, or Church Street, or Chapman. Same components. The only difference is it's a simplex station. It only has one pump instead of two, which is called a duplex station. So there's going to be a lot of money needed in the future to maintain that whole subdivision, because, again, that's 67 individual pump stations we have to maintain on top of the other 28 we have around town. So I just want to put that on your radar about, it's something we have to maintain it. Takes a lot of money, because the same retro, the same transducer, everything that goes in there is the same thing we have to put in a standard pump station that could serve 4 neighborhoods. This one's serving 1 house, but it costs the same to do it for that 1 house versus a standard pump station that would serve, 3 or 4 communities. So just wanted to put that on your radar, that those houses have reached their 10 to 11 year lifespan on those components, and we're going to have to dump a lot of money in there to keep it going.
And if I could follow up and say that was a circumstance that happened many years ago, prior to a lot of people's times. We would not allow a development nowadays to be built in a like fashion where we end up maintaining these pump stations. Not making any judgment on those decisions, but that is certainly not something that we would desire anymore, so we no longer allow it.
Correct. And those have to be maintained, every 6 months. We're supposed to pump every tank in the neighborhood. Because they do not have telemetry, we're supposed to visit every house every day. I mean, it's just, there's a lot that goes into that subdivision. Very, state requirements, like I said, for that small pump station are the same as any big pump station we have in town. So just want to put that on my radar. Thank you.
I just got one question, right quick. Approximately how long do you think that it took that water, all the water, the worst part that you saw, to really cease down to a point where we could get through? About how
From
long?
the time, I say
at the
worse,
worst.
I mean, the house that flooded, it crossing, main roads. I mean, our Church Street pump station was underwater for roughly 7.5 hours.
7.5 hours.
But now that's on one of the end of the line. So if a subdivision street flooded, it may take, some of them may take an hour, some of them may take 3 hours to recede, depending on how deep they were. It's just everything, at the end of the day, everything has to make it to two major, one's Swift Creek, the other one's Fork Swamp. That's the only two places it can go. So everything's got to go to one of those two places, and it just starts backing up. So, I mean, it can't get there but so fast.
But what I was asking, the area where you saw that it took the longest for it to really.
Worthington Road took a while, right there at Christ Covenant. Church Street took a while.
Okay.
And where you're talking about at Beacon Drive, where that crosses Vernon White, that does take a little while, but it's not super slow.
Okay.
The southern part of town, which is where everything has to make its way,
Yes.
those take the longest. And you know, Scott that was here earlier talking about the rezoning touched on the retention ponds for the 10-year storm stuff. All but 2 retention ponds ran over during this storm.
Really?
Yep. So 11 at Main, Mellon Downs, let's see, Holly Grove. I mean, everything on the southern part of town where all the water has to go so fast. I mean, the retention ponds just run over. The new Brookfield subdivision, it ran over. I mean, they're just not designed to handle that kind of rain. So 7.5, 8 inches, you're not going to get that very often, but that's what we got.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Let's see, recently we've completed our Old Tar Road electric utility design in whole. We'll be discussing that with DOT this week. My understanding, the latest on the updates is the construction is scheduled to start March of '25. The completion date is to be determined. We have completed installation on electric infrastructure in Brookfield Phase 4, as well as all the primary installation for 11 at Main Phase 1. We have a little minor work left to do on Phase 1 to complete it. We've also completed the ACES for Autism installation. Staff is currently installing wildlife protectors in hopes of not having issues with squirrels as much as we have in the past. We have seen a pretty big improvement in that area. The system right-of-way maintenance along those lines, we've all discussed the storm. We spent a good bit of time and invested a good bit of town's resources in right-of-way maintenance, protecting our overhead power lines for storm events. Witnessed by the last event, the only outage we had was one that there was very little we could do about. The particular area was at the bottom of a funnel, and we couldn't get to the transformer fast enough, but as soon as it did, we had power restored in just a few minutes. We continue refurbishing transformers on the system. Currently have an RFQ out for rate reviews and system valuation. Should have that wrapped up hopefully by the end of this month. I'll be bringing recommendations to you at the next council meeting. We are scheduling some substation maintenance this fall. Hopefully, that'll be very quick. You won't see any interruption in service. We continue to experience some supply chain issues. Transformers are still very slow in trickling in. We have a tremendous amount on order. We have not seen a quick response on those like we had hoped. We're currently reviewing our existing wholesale power purchase agreement. We're looking for potential cost-saving options, and that includes everything from solar to gas hedging. Also, we're looking at a small possibility of being able to possibly purchase some nuclear from the Western power plant to supplement what we have. I like that option. Nuclear is awful cheap compared to just about everything else. The last thing is gas futures currently, as of today, look promising for this month. And as we all saw, I can change it up tonight. Any questions from council?
Any questions? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Just a few updates for finance. We're in the middle of our audit season. Our auditors came on site the week of September 11th. According to them, things are going well and we're on schedule. They're working on finishing up the audit and preparing the financial statements. Just a reminder again, the power cost adjustment was reduced from 2.5 cents per kilowatt down to 1.5 cents back on the August bills. We're also still taking the applications from Green Lamp for the $85 one-time assistance program, and so far we've had about 100 applications approved.
Good evening. So Parks and Rec has been going full speed. Right now we are in our fall season, so we have tackle football going, which we have a total of 6 teams, 3 teams in the 8 to 10-year-olds and 3 in the 11, 13-year-olds. Flag football, we also have our 5 and 6-year-olds, the 2 Winterville teams and 2 7, 8-year-old teams. Also, we have cheerleading, so we have 30 cheerleaders, which is more than we've had in the past. So this was something we're, fortunate to where we had 3 moms who, were willing to be the cheer coaches. So we were able to up the numbers and give more cheerleaders a chance to be out there and cheer for the football games. Soccer, we have 10 teams, so over 80 players. And then baseball, we have our 8U, we have 6 rookie teams, 7 minor, which is your 10U, and then 6 your 12U major teams. For fall programs, we're bringing back Zumba and yoga, so that'll start about middle of October. We started back our Golden Age senior programs. Our first activity was bingo. We had 14 participants come out. They seem to enjoy it, and they've been ready to come back and play bingo and go shopping at the Smithfield outlets. But they've had a good time and a good turnout. This past Friday, we actually had the Chocolate Chip and Company band from South Carolina come out and, play out there. I took my family out there Friday night, so I got to see Mayor Hines.
And my family.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it was a good music. And then this upcoming Friday, we'll actually have our last movie in the park, which will be Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo. Also, we're trying to get more opportunities of just connecting with the communities and school system. So we actually went to Wintergreen Primary for their fall carnival. They had different vendors, different activities, so that gave us an opportunity to hand out pamphlets, especially with our QR code that you could scan it, and that takes you directly to our ActiveNet, so that has any programs, sports that you can register on.
Thank you. Chief? And Chief William, you're on deck.
I'll offer, I told you last month that we were burning the houses at 116 and 120 Main Street. There was an addressing issue with the 116, so we'll be doing that on the 26th of this month. That almost everything on that end will be cleared out.
How many volunteers do you have and how many paid people we have at this time?
We've got position-wise, we have 17 full-time. We've got 16 part-time, about 30 volunteers.
Part-time is we'll welcome, that's not a hard 16, so if we get other part-timers that can share these spots, we'll take them.
At what point in time we have to have a second station?
Well, yeah, the chief right now.
About 10 years ago. So whenever you get ready, just let me know. It's based on a couple things. Obviously, call volume. It's also based on road mileage. So if you drive from the fire station a mile and a half anywhere in town, we should be within engine. So town has grown a lot over the last, since 2004, it's grown a lot. We do have ISO inspection coming up in January.
I wondered if you were going to mention that.
Those pieces and parts will be very interesting. It's very hard to predict because it depends on the number of structures and those hours.
Chief and I were both out of town last week, and we got that surprise sent to us while we were gone.
Well, make sure the insurance rates go down, not up. Keith?
I'm with you.
Thank you.
Chief Williams.
Mayor, council, a couple of recognitions if you don't mind. Ms. Robertson, I'd like to thank you for your attendance to our last Coffee with a Cop, the conversation, the ideas on community, and your lessons and history lessons. And awesome. Thank you. Mayor, you pointed out our handling of the fatality crash, unfortunate. Officer Lamb, who sits at the back of the room, Lieutenant Hamilton, were the officers that handled that crash. And given that that's probably one of the hardest things that law enforcement officers have to do, I'd like to recognize the two of them for the job that they did. So some good news. We have a new employee starting soon. We poached him from Greenville, and he should be starting soon. We're very happy to have him. He's well experienced, great cop. Looking forward to having him here. We have 2 BLET students who should be graduating in December. Get them in some uniforms and get them started. We have another BLET student that should start at the end of this month, provided there's no issues with the BLET course starting on time. Maine and Cooper, we got a complaint through Ms. Harriet, so I said about getting some officers in the area and get them looked at. We've written 70 citations in the last 11 days for speeding. They don't seem to be slowing down. We also bought a sign through GHSP. If you come down Cooper Street, you will see it if you're exceeding the speed limit, it blinks at you, and it also records, not you or a picture or anything like that, I don't want to scare any citizen, but it records a digital number. Car 1 was going this speed this time, car 2, and we hope to extrapolate some data to that, and maybe we can have some more answers. You guys want to create some kind of traffic. Community events, we're trying to get back in the ballgame with those. Ms. Terry mentioned Coffee with a Cop and the police educating the public. I'm glad I was able to get that out. Elderly Check is another program that's in the works. We hope to maybe go on with Diane's elderly program to kind of feel that out and see how we can make it work for us and work for the town citizens. 2 announcements, Cops on the Roof, which is where we stand on the Walmart of Walmart and beg for bicycles and harass people at the front door. Will be happening again this year, December 15th. That's a Friday. Shot with a Cop in the town of Winterville this year will be December 22nd. If you're aware of a family in need that lives in the town of Winterville, please let me know. I'll add them to the list. Please don't promise them anything because we do a vetting process based on need, and we can step from there. Other than that, I think we've covered everything. Is there anything
How many cars are going to be used in the parking lot? I said, number of cars sitting there. How many of those cars are you going to use and sell them? Or?
So there are 3 over there that are currently, Jessica is working on being marked for surplus, plus our motorcycles. So we're going to keep getting off of them. The rest of the vehicles that actually are over there striped will be, 4 of them will be going to the officers that will be coming on duty, and 1 belongs to the officer who was recently deployed. Officer Ivy was deployed with his National Guard unit to the border of Texas, and he'll be serving there for the next almost a year.
Is that motorcycle one we bought for $1 from Greenville years ago?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Does it run at all?
It's perfectly maintained. It's just we have not taken it out of there based on shortfalls, and the only person that's qualified to ride it is a sergeant, and I don't really want a sergeant out there on a motorcycle. It just has sat. So it rides perfectly well. It's maintained through Harley-Davidson. It's got all the records. The city.
Maybe it could be the mayor's new vehicle.
That's the
mayor's motorcycle.
I don't have any idea.
Mayor on a motorcycle.
I'm not getting in that.
We just got to be sure to get the blue lights off before we
Mayor cruising through town.
Any other questions?
Nah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank all the departments. Oh, Evan. I forgot all about you back there, sir.
I was hiding. Building inspections, things are going along well. Inspections remain steady. We just did a big round of code enforcement. There'll be a bunch of letters going out for grass and some other related items probably tomorrow. hopefully this will be the last big round of grass we'll have to do this year, but we will see. Willie Gay and I went to an electrical class back in August. I think that's pretty much it.
And I'm ecstatic to report that Evan passed the state exam for electrical, which is probably, they say, one of the hardest exams. Mike Weldon is saying yes, and Evan passed, and we're very proud of him.
Congratulations. And also, too, might want to thank Willie and whoever else that rigged up this.
In Public Works, we
Yeah.
do have a new screen
Right,
finally
new screen.
to remind everyone. The previous one was afflicted and tried to fall out of the wall. Anyway, the rest of the box and all will be installed hopefully by our next meeting, but that's been a process in the making. But yes, we finally have a new one and it's working.
How's Don Harvey doing?
Talked to Don today, and he sounded really good, said he was feeling better. Of course, he has good days and not as good days, but he has a great attitude and seems to be recuperating as well as can be expected.
All right. Now, we'll start with the,
I'm just kidding.
now we'll start with King, and we'll work ourselves down.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report tonight. As it's been previously mentioned, we do have a closed session.
Okay, all right. And Tony?
Thank everyone for the time that the staff did during the storm. We did have a lot of water. It's a concern all over town. The flooding is a major concern. I do hope that we can look in the future, having additional staff in the future, because you all work really, really hard. I appreciate what you do each and every day. That's all I have.
Ms. Robertson?
I saw the street sweeper on Sunday, and I had to stop and think, what day of the week is this? So that was above and beyond the call of duty. I did get a call during the storm. Somebody checked on me, see how I was doing, so I appreciate that. When you get old, those kinds of things happen to you. I attended Coffee with a Cop, was very much impressed with the participation, everybody except the citizens. We need to come. It's amazing that we had so many policemen there, and they're willing to talk and answer your questions and vice versa. There is a candidates forum on the 17th at the Goes Building on Pitt Community College at 6 p.m. And so those of us that's running, we'd love for you to be there, to ask questions and to find out about the candidates.
That's just for Winterville?
It's everybody.
It is everybody. Okay.
Everybody for that one. Aiden's having one tomorrow night, but that's just for Aiden.
Gotcha.
That's it, Ms. Robertson?
Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
Mr. Moore?
I would like to, it might sound sort of awkward, I'd like to apologize to the citizen of Winterville that I was one of those that was out that caused us not to have a regular call meeting because of sickness. Right now, I am approximately 65% back to where I need to be, but I would like the citizen to know that I was one of those that was out because of sickness in September. And I know this sounds sort of unusual, and as long as I have been on the board, I have never known us to miss a regular meeting. But that is one of the reasons why I would like to interject to say I apologize, but it was not planned, not what I went through. That's all I have to say.
We're glad you're better.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Harrell, Dr. Harrell.
Good evening. I'd like to highlight some of the resources and technical services that are available to our town and North Carolina municipalities. They're able to help us regarding grant services, project development, preparation of grants, application submittal, compliance, and grant management. Also, cybersecurity, assessing and identifying gaps, engineering and planning, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to make sure that we are being able to utilize these services because these services are available and it's free to our town. Sarah, do you have any other questions? That Pam Myrtle is
Yes.
our actual.
Yes.
Last but not least, I want to make sure that we all recognize and wear pink for the rest of the month to recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We want to celebrate the survivors and commemorate those lives that were lost in various times. Thank you to the staff and
I don't have anything this evening except to say, as always, thanks to staff and council for everything you do. A lot going on, so it's a lot to keep up with. Thank you very much.
And mine is pretty much, like she said, breast cancer is near and dear to my heart, of course, and, I'm wearing pink today. But also, too, I would like to address a couple things, and I'm just put it out there. Yes, we did miss a meeting, and, I hate that we did have to miss a meeting, but, due to circumstances, even to, sickness is, we can't control. We don't never know when it may hit us. And unfortunately, it hit us at a time that we were supposed to have a meeting, and we can't do anything about that. But also, too, to address all the press that was put out and everything else on these apps and everything. We here at the town of Winterville take pride in what we do. From everybody up here on this council to everybody out there that's in departments. We have an open door policy. From myself being the mayor, if you need to get in touch with me, you can call here. They will get in touch with me, and we will schedule an appointment so you can come in and meet with me. Terry has an open door policy. If you need to talk with Terry, you contact the town. Terry will set up an appointment with you. She will meet with you. Everyone on this staff, on this council, I think if anyone will call them, they will be much obliged to meet with them. So, and putting out misinformation and misinforming the public is not a good thing. We're a body. We're one. And what we do, we make decisions that's best for this town. We're transparent, and we're always going to be that way. We took an oath. I took the oath, and everybody on this board took that oath. So, it hurts when we see bullying from our own. But there's no justification for that. So I just wanted to clear that air. As me being the mayor, I take that responsibility to clear that air because there's no place for it. And again, to the citizens, this town is open for you. It's open. All you have to do is call us, and we'll answer you. We're not running from you. We're not hiding from you. We're here, and we'll give you an answer. If we can't give you what you want, we're going to find out an answer for you. I just want to make that clear. And also, too, in front of you, switching gears, you got some nice gear.
You have some gifts from the electric department.
And Robert, I thought you was going to mention that, but, Okay. So,
That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, last week was Public Power Week.
That's right.
Each of you have a little something in front of you. We celebrated at Town Hall. The ladies in customer service were very good to us because they kept picking up the helium-filled balloons that fell down each and every day.
All right.
So I want to thank Jessica and her staff for helping out on that. Very kind of them.
Thank you.
Oh, and I did leave one item out tonight on the update. I know you want to kill me, Evan. Met with representatives of Greenville Utilities at the cemetery. There's going to be a considerable amount of utility relocation that's going to have to take place for this project. And we're still looking at different ways to get it in as efficiently and cost effectively as possible.
Okay.
We'll meet with them again Wednesday, I believe.
Thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion for closed session?
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session.
I have a motion made by Councilman Moy, second by Dr. Harrell. All in favor by raising their right hand? 4-0. We'll now move to closed session. Y'all more than welcome to stay until we come back in open session.
It should not.
But you know you have to have so many days to let that, you know that public notice. Well. Y'all all did a good job. But the thing about it is, if we had done what we could have done to make another meeting, but we didn't do it. And you know, it's so time sensitive. It's such a time sensitive thing about letting people know about that. I just cleaned out all the water bottles I had, gave away. Cause I got so many.
Evan, that means you gotta hang out around. It shouldn't be long.
And, you know, at places now, you can't drink water, so the kids are carrying water. This will probably walk out of my house.
I'd like to entertain a motion to come back into closed session. Open session. Open session. Come on. All right. Tony made a motion, second by Dr. Harrell. All in favor, vote by raising their right hand. All right, 4-0. All right. Now, what's the?
We are,
The
oh, yes.
NCDOT.
NCDOT offer.
All
the
right.
2,600,
Yes.
All right. I need a motion on the NCDOT offer for $2,600. Okay. Got a motion by Tony,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Robinson. Any questions? I'll vote by raising the right hand. 4-0, motion carried. Motion approved. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Moy, Councilman Moore, second by Councilman Moy. Meeting to adjourn. All raise your hand. Motion carried.
Excellent.
Good night. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I did really good.
Thank you, thank you.
Happy birthday. Have a good one.
And happy birthday.